Come on, last 500 meters. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. You're almost there, almost there. Look at him go, look at him go. Keep going, push, push, push. You can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Winning is the most important thing in this game, and this is what we're trying to do. Let's go, Pink Boo. You can do it. Almost there. 200 meters left. Can he do it? Can he do it? Can he beat the Dragon Queen? He beat the Dragon Queen. Now, last person. Is he gonna make it? He's first. Can he hold it? Can he hold it? Can he hold it? And yes, he does, and he finishes first place. This should be every single race, or at least majority of your races. Welcome to episode 2. We're teaching you how to win a race. This is my horse here, Pink Boo, one of my bred horses. One of my favorite, one of my top few ones I really like, just because it's a very fun type of horse, and I know exactly what it can do, and know exactly how to win and how this horse runs. Before we get into how to win and the type of horses, remember, please like and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell button for more Zed Run content. Alright guys, so this is the horse you just saw, Pink Boo. He's a Z17 Elite Zabo Colt. He has 13.65% win rate, 68 wins, 40 second places, and 42 third places over 500 or 498 races. So, is this a good horse? That is depending on what you define a good horse to be. Me personally, a positive ROI horse, or has the potential to have a positive ROI horse, is a good horse. Whatever these stats are, as long as your ROI is good enough and you can totally control your horse moving up and down the classes, it is a good horse. If you're completely brand new to this, you'd be like, what is he talking about? You know, what, isn't a good horse just a good horse? No, there's different classes of horses, and within each class there's also some that are better and some that are worse. Different shapes, different metas, and such like that. Before we get into all of that stuff on, you know, different classes, things like that, on what to define a good horse and everything like that, gotta look at the classes. There are 5 different classes, unless you consider Griffin, but I don't think that's a really real class. Griffin is basically all horses on their first race goes into this, pull them all together, bunches them up all together, and pretty much just kind of, you know, random, right? You can face all 11 horses, terrible horses, and be the fastest one, or you can face 11 really fast horses and be the slowest one, but that has really no determining factor on how good your horse is. So there's 5 different classes within this game right now. Class 5 being technically the slowest or the worst of the horses, and Class 1 being the best of the horses, the fastest of the horses as well. And then these are the points within each class. As you go higher within the points, after every win, you move on to different classes, and as you lose, you go down classes. And you can see from the class progression here, first place is 4 points, second place, so on, and then 12th place is -4, -3, and so on, and between 5th and 8th is kind of a wash. So after seeing those points, what is a good horse, right? That is the hardest thing for everybody to see, and the biggest debate on there. Like I said, me personally, I think a positive ROI, or a potential to have a positive ROI, is a good horse, whether it being significant, huge ROI, or smaller ROI, as long as it can generate that income, it's a good horse in my opinion. Whether it be a class 5, a class 3, or a class 1, to me, it doesn't matter. As long as your strategy to win in each one is going to be good enough to win in each class. Some would say in the game that class 1s are the best out of the best horses. Anything beneath that is not a good horse. Other people says class 1 is a decent horse, but class 5 and 4 are the best horses because you can grind the most and get the most yield out of ROI. Some people like, you know, small pots, $2 to $5 pots, and win those ones consistently and make a lot of money, and saying those are the best horses in class 4 and 5. Other people will say I only do $50 races and only do in class 1 and 2, and if you can't win those, it's not a good horse. So you gotta see which section of horses you want to be in. Do you want to be the best out of the best and play the best, or do you want to be profitable in the lower classes and have a good horse that can run up and down these classes? So you have to decide which horse you want and what kind of player you want. That's the beauty of this game is there's so many different strategies of winning and making money that there's no real one answer to all. But there are some things that are very, very basic in terms of winning. And we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go back to my horse here, Pink Boo, to see the different factors that, the basics of winning a race. Number one is you can only enter one race per horse at a time. Number two is each horse has a stamina factor on there. They just introduced this recently, and it's a diminishing factor in terms of every race you do go into. For 100% of your speed, every race you go is minus less and less and less and less. Depending on your horse, every single time it goes a little bit different. For example, Pink Boo here is a horse that can go about 3 races into from 100% all the way to around 90, between 3 to 4 races. Then after that, it just dramatically drops. It can probably go up to 5 races before, maybe even 6, going back to around 70. But I don't really race past that point because it's kind of like a waste of money. But there is some strategy involved into that as well too, which we will talk about. But those are a factor in there. The next factor is what kind of races do you want to be in? So for example, Pink Boo is a class 4 and 5 horse. You can see what kind of different distances they are. 1600, 2000, 2200, or 24, 26. There's different types of distances on there. Pink Boo is a marathon runner, so it does really well in 2200 and 2400 and even 2600, right? So you gotta understand how your horse races and put his horse to the best distances to win. And of course, you can either buy a horse that's already been discovered and shown to you how good each distance is, where it can win and such like that, or you can buy an unraced horse and try to figure that one out yourself. And of course, flames is the biggest indicator to see how good a horse is. If it gets a lot of flames, it has a higher chance of winning. Less flames means less of a chance to win. Prior to flames, there was odds. And we all know not all horses will have flames. And unfortunately, a lot of them will not be winnable horses. And knowing when to cut your losses in those horses is very, very important in this game. Because, you know what? Like, there's no use banging your head on the same horse over and over and over again when it has zero chance of winning. So understanding how your horse runs is very, very important and a crucial key to winning in Zed Run. Being able to understand which is the preferred distances and which distances it will drop down is very crucial. And that moves on to the next section of this video, is different types of racers. Different types of racing lines, I would say, different shapes. One of the biggest horses right now, Breathless Edge, one of the most famous ones out there, it has a J-shaped pattern. What that means is a lot of firsts, not that many seconds, not that many thirds, and not that many of the rest losing and such like that. So it has a huge up in the power on a very, very good horse, an amazing, amazing horse, crazy power, best horses in the game. It just keeps winning and winning and winning and winning. As you can tell, the points on this one's at 576, which means it's significantly higher than even threshold on class 1. So this horse will never drop down to class 2. But it's also a horse that will consistently only face the best of the best horses. So is this Breathless Edge a good horse? Yes, it is. It made significant profit on this horse. And it's about understanding what kind of races it could be in, right? Heat by distance, as you can tell, he races the most at 1800, 1000 as well too. So the owner of Breathless Edge exactly knows where it does its best at the 1800 and 2000. So understanding those two are the best distances, you can see that it doesn't at all race these 1000, 1200, 1400, barely races those at all, right? So once you understand where your horse does the best and where it can go, do those consistently. Of course, again, different strategies if you want to have a J-shaped horse. Other horses, like one of mine here called Wasteland Wookie, it's more of like a straight line type of horse. Slight U-shape, but not really important. It's more of a flat line type of horse. So you can see it's more consistent in terms of all the distances, but favorable in shorter distances, a sprinter. So understanding your horse is very important. Is this horse an amazing horse? It's average at best, I would say. 10% win, you're like, oh, it's pretty good, but it doesn't have that much profit on there. I raced over, what, 1,000 races on this one for 0.0038 profit. In my opinion, kind of mediocre at best. But again, you know exactly how your horse runs, and you kind of push it towards those, right? I'm not going to keep running 2600 when you know it's not going to be good. Understanding how your horse runs is very important and the key factor to getting your wins in your horses. And of course, the best way is the U-shaped horses. This is what everybody wants right now. Not because it's the best horses in terms of being the most, fastest horse or whatever it is. It's just because of this class system. U-shaped horses benefit from being able to grind the most money out of it. So this horse here, LBJ Goat, is one of the most famous, best U-shaped horses, I would say. And it's not a natural U-shaped horse. So I'm going to explain how this horse works in detail so for you to understand winning a race and how to make a profitable horse. LBJ Goat is one of those horses that go up and down classes easily, right? You can tell that in shorter sprint distances, it goes down in rank. So it does the 10th, 11th, 12th places. So this part of the U shape. When you boost it up when you race them in the 2000, 2200, 2400, it starts getting the heat and starts winning and going up. As you can see, it climbs through this class 3, class 2, and then back down to class 3, and then back to class 4 even, right? So it goes up and down, up and down. The benefit of doing this is that your horse will consistently stay in that little threshold in, class 4 and 3, so it never really competes against the best of the best and always just kind of grinds in between the two and wins the most money. You get stuck in this limbo in between. When you do lose, you lose the most points, so you get downgraded into the previous class, and when you win, of course, you move up. So it has that big spectrum in the first and the last to give you that benefit of the best and the worst and making it kind of staying in those classes. Staying in class is very, very important because you run horses that are similar to your level or worse than your level, so you can continuously beat them over and over and over again and win a lot of money. So what you would do to make money is on the way up, like your good distances, you would put them into bigger pots, $5, $10, $15 pots. On the way down, you throw them into free races and then $2 races and bring them all the way down. So you kind of, put your biggest races on your up and your lowest races on the way down, which gives you a positive ROI, and you can tell LBJ Goat is definitely a money maker. So what does this mean? Explaining all these different types of horse and understanding your horse is that number one thing is understanding how your horse runs is key factor to winning in this game. Number two is, unfortunately, not all horses can run. I have a horse here, Mim's Decision. It's not that great of a horse. It's never had any flames on here. Had one in third place and that's it. But in 5th place, 8th place, 7th place, 4th place in class 5, it will probably never win a race, and it'll probably be complete waste of money to continue racing this horse. So you gotta understand how horses are. Of course, it's only been 6 races. Is it a definite factor that this is gonna be the worst horse? No, but at the same time my chances are that this horse is not going to be that great. So understanding your horse and what it can do, from 6 races I can tell that this horse, even if I can get a few wins out of this, it wouldn't be a great horse. It's already in class 5 and can't even produce any wins or even any flames. So not all horses are equal, and unfortunately most of them out there are going to be like this horse here. But once you have a horse that does have a few flames, that's when you can kind of see exactly where you can push it, where you can see all the flames disappear, and understanding where your horse fits within this class system you can able to see where you can make the most money. Having a horse from class 5 keep winning and winning all the way to class 3, hey, it goes to class 2 even, you're like, yeah, I'm winning like crazy. But then after that, you're stuck. You can't win anymore in class 2, and you can't really have anything to class down with. Is that really a good horse? Yeah, you had a good run going up, but then you kind of get stuck in there. So understanding how your horse works, understanding how your horse, the benefits and the cons on your horse is key into winning a race. It's key into understanding what a good horse is. So with that information, the one last key factor to winning a race is to play the field. Regardless of how good or how bad a horse is, there's always a worse horse out there. What that means is, if you look at this race here, $2, 10 horses in this race. Let's actually go to a race that's going to be more coming soon. So let's see here, if it ever loads. Here, 1800, we'll see this one here, right? 3 guys with flames. Nakamoto Z9 with a flame, Z14 Buterin with a flame, Z12 Finny with a flame. As you can tell, if I were to enter this with the top 10 horses only, and I see this, and I have a Buterin Z19, and I see this field on here, I would not enter this race. Why? Is because Chunky Monkey here is the Z9 Nakamoto with 59 wins. Another Nakamoto here with Z8 with 3 wins. And another Nakamoto with Z8 here. No wins yet, but probably a new one. And the rest of the field looks pretty strong. All in the low Z numbers, under 20. And only one guy with a Z27. So if I had a Buterin Z19, I'm going into a race where it's going to be, quite even. I don't really want to be in a race that's quite even. I want to be the best horse in there. Playing your field is the most important thing you can do. So understanding what different horses are in there. So for example, I have a Buterin Z15 and I see this field, I'll be like, I'm down. I'll take my chances over all these Z26s, Z46s, even though this one's not at the flame. But you wouldn't know that. But you can see a Z646. I'll take my chances against a Z46 versus that Z9 Nakamoto, right? So understanding your field and understanding playing your field is the most important factor in this game. And understanding who your opponents are is the key factor into winning. You can have the best horse in the game, but if you're placing 11 other horses that are equally or just slightly worse than you, you almost have 0 chance of winning. If you have one of the worst horses in the game, but you face against 11 other even worse horses, you have a chance of winning. Playing the field is the most important thing in this game, and understanding where your horse stands in that whole structure is key. Again, at the end of the day, it's understanding what your horse can do and can't do, and making sure you pick the best race for it to win. I know it's a lot of information all at once, and you probably have to watch this a couple times before you really understand a lot of different things in there, but the most important thing is to click through this website, Zed Run and such like that, to see what kind of classes there are, what people are trying, what kind of horses are winning. Research is the key, and understanding your definition of a good horse and what you want your horse to do. Do you want your horse to be a C1, crazy best horse in the game, or do you want someone to be able to grind in C5, C4, C3, whatever it is, right? So understanding how this game works is the key factor. You go to results, you see all the different types of races, you can filter it to like only class 5, let's say. You can see all the races there. You can see what horses win, right? What horses are the ones that are consistently winning, and see what horses are the ones that are consistently losing, and have that idea of what horse you want, right? I want this type of horse to, compete, or I want something that's even more crazy in class 1. Understanding what kind of racer and what kind of races you want to join is the key factor. And what kind of horses you want is the most important thing. And that's when, after knowing that, that's when you can deep dive into different statistics and different numbers and research to be able to find out what you want in a horse. The next episode, we will talk about research on a horse, more in depth of this kind of explanation of what is a good horse and how to pick a winning horse. I know it's a lot of information. This episode is probably very long. The next episode will probably be just as long, but I think more and more information out there is going to be very, very important. And this game, it can be as simple and as complicated as you want it to be. And of course, the more complicated it is, the more chances of you, or more information you get, the more information you read and see and research, the better your chances of winning on the racetrack and breeding in the future. Let me know what you guys think about this episode and what you think about Zed Run. Of course, remember, please like and subscribe to the channel and click the bell button for more Zed Run content.